Call to order. November 14th, Sylva Town Board of Commissioners meeting. First thing on the agenda is to approve the agenda. My motion to do that.
I'll make that motion.
Motion, do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. All opposed by like sign, motion carries. Also need to make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion, do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign, motion carries. We have anyone signed up for public comment? Moving on to reports. Start with Mary.
Don't have a report this evening, thank you.
Brett?
Neither do I.
The only thing that I had to report is a lot of people asking when the bathrooms will be open.
Yep.
And, what a great job that, Central Utilities doing with the lights. It's like they're coming along really good. That's it.
The only thing I have to say is that the Christmas tree this year looks 10 times better than last year. That's it.
John?
I would just say that, thank you to the Public Works for everything going well, Treat Street and, the homecoming parade downtown. It seemed like everything went well. Incident, I do love. Good job with Public Works.
As the mayor's report is concerned, there's some things that's been on my mind for some time. Just like Mark, I've been asked many times about bathrooms as well, but, something that needs to be brought to everyone's attention. As everyone knows, it's been a big interest of mine, try to help somehow with the development of 107, try to get some buildings built back. In the original plan to try to stay at zero if we could. We thought we'd try to get that extra ABC money from the town, which we're successful in doing, $100,000 there. The reevaluation of properties, the whole county, which is mandatory legislative, county has to do. Town will reap some benefits from that. There's a possibility that could be $100,000. And we're hoping that the redevelopment of some property out at the old Evans Trucking Company, on out where Jack the Dipper is, and some of the things that's happening on Skyland Drive might possibly make up the other $100,000 and get us back to zero. And thoughts that down the road, if we could start some development on 107 and convince DOT that after the project starts to release some construction easements for somebody that wanted to build in. So we made that hurdle. They've made a few small changes for us for business owners for different things, like some drive over sidewalks and things of that nature, so we can get into a parking place. There's been several things of that nature, but there's a brand new hurdle that I can't jump. I don't know if there's enough horsepower in Western North Carolina to fix it. But, FEMA has at least partially made public, and it'll be public, I think, in 3 months. Their new flood maps, which they started making calculations for about 8 years ago. And it's showing, is it a fair statement to say several properties or buildings have been torn down or affected by it?
Yes, I've been going through it, but there are several, it does add several properties in town around the downtown area and the beginning of the corridor project into the floodplain.
So where we had buildings that were paid for, that people could rent, put a business in and do things on, we now have vacant lots And if anybody wants to borrow a dime to build a building on it, we're gonna pay for flood insurance. Which means they'll probably look elsewhere. I don't know how to fix it. If anybody's got a way to petition FEMA to change things, to figure out a way to surveyors to come up with flood elevation maps and build retaining walls and raise the grade of the lots, or something will have to happen for 107 to be developed now. And what we had before was buildings that were paid for, didn't require such things as that people could have businesses in, and now that may be a very, very difficult thing to see through.
Which buildings were those?
Well, just about all of them between the paper mill and Cody's is now in a new floodplain. Maybe as far out as UPS. Is that correct?
We received the documentation in the mail yesterday. I'll send it out to you all so you can take a look at it and look at the map with the link to the maps. I haven't spent enough time with it yet to make an assessment like that.
Is this FEMA's sole authority to do this, or can we get a second opinion, maybe through the Army Corps of Engineers? I mean, that seems like putting a lot of horsepower in FEMA's, hip pocket to change a whole town that's getting ready to go under total reconstruction.
But what they do is they make their new flood maps available to all the lending institutions.
Right.
The banks
Right.
are going to require flood insurance on properties that wasn't in a floodplain before. And to add misery to it, we just had a 1,000-year rain that proved them correct. We probably won't see another one like it in my lifetime.
It won't be adjustments just in Sylva.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be flood maps revisited
Oh, I'm sure, probably
everywhere. Yeah.
nationwide, I would say. But it just seems like a lot of authority to put in one organization's pocket.
I think that's who typically draws them for those purposes. Anyway, historically, it's been FEMA that draws those flood maps. I was having a conversation with an insurance agent last week that suggested that flood insurance
Your building's in it.
might actually get more affordable flood insurance, which sounds a little bit counterintuitive based on what's happened. But there'll be more people who need insurance.
I've had to have,
Thereby,
I've had
it's
to
all
have-
actuarial math. If you have more people paying and fewer claims, then overall people pay less for the insurance. It's anticipated that flood insurance on the whole might actually get less expensive because more people buy flood insurance.
4 or 5 years ago, I had to have flood insurance. And I raised the grades.
To get out of the
Enough
floodplain.
to get the dwelling out of the backyard still in it. But the long and short of it is, when you petition them to make that change, it's time consuming, and eventually they'll get, I never received anything back from FEMA. But I did get letters from the credit union saying it was no longer required. But this may throw my place right back into it as well. So we don't know.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen, but it's definitely a hindrance on business development. I don't have anything to hide from anybody. A $1,300 a month payment had, on a regular mortgage, had a $561 a month flood insurance policy that had to go with it every month.
So $6,000 a year.
So it's basically a third of whatever you owe, what flood insurance costs, and it'll pay 35% if you flood. It's worthless. So I don't know how we face that or what we do. But I don't know if there's enough horsepower around here to whoop out things.
I think so.
So anyway, that's my report. Moving on. To our manager's report.
Good evening. Since our last meeting, I've primarily been working on applying with the FEMA Public Assistance for the wall behind Town Hall in our maintenance building. Jake and I met with a contact from emergency management, and then Mayor Phillips, Jake and I met with representatives and with Congressman Edwards. We're hopeful that we'll be able to get this funded, especially since the damage is so much more significant due to the storm. So that's pretty much changed by course of work. That in moving from day-to-day stuff to what we need to get done to document this and plan for how to apply for this significant amount of money, which I really hope we can get, because the condition of the parking lot and the crack at the bridge, is probably 4 inches larger than it was before the storm. And I would say this area, if you haven't been out to look at it, where we'd started to have a little bit of damage in May, is now probably 4 times the size that it was before. So we don't want to lose that area where we park our maintenance vehicles, or the public works employees park, or access to our shop. So next thing is Bartlett Operations has started work on the pavilion at Bryson Park. The contract amount is $263,490. This is funded with the SCIF grant that we received in the state budget. And we're very grateful to Senator Corbin and Representative Clampett for making that repair to Allen Street and the Bryson Park area, along with the upgrades to that park. The pavilion renovation should be complete by the end of March. So we found out at 5:20 today that we received the CO on the restrooms. So they're very close to being completed. The cameras are being installed this week. We got an electrical panel this week. The punch list walkthrough will probably take place early next week. So we're getting close. Duke Energy is installing the new streetlights on Main Street. They're tracking with replacement of between 6 and 9 per day, and they should all be replaced by the end of the month. So this has interrupted the schedule with the Veterans Day banners and garland going up, but Public Works is coordinating that the best way we can. And Bernadette has been working with them to try to notify the merchants that will be impacted that day. So Jake and I are attending the school government's purchasing course in Asheville tomorrow. It was one that was scheduled before the hurricane, but now they've changed the gears to make it purchasing and contracting during a disaster. So that'll be helpful. And just a reminder that town hall offices are closed the Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving. And the tree lighting is November the 29th at 6. The Christmas parade is Sunday, December the 1st at 3 p.m. And we're closed the December 24th, 25th, and 26th for Christmas. Any questions?
Yeah, I've got a couple of them. The benches we talked about putting at the new bathrooms. Will it be possible to put some kind of signage that these are not time beds, they're just a place to sit out or you want to use the restroom?
We have to be careful how we word that. There will be cameras on that area though.
Okay. And I noticed last night it's been converted into our now skate park. In fact, there's 4 skateboarding on our new concrete last night when I got here. They apparently tore all the rock they can off of the edges of the pavilion over here at Bridge Park, so now they're working on the new bathroom. I don't know what we could do about that if it's.
Did you call the non-emergency number to report it?
No, I didn't. I don't even know if it's, we don't have a sign saying not to do that.
No, we don't have any signage up yet over there. But if you notice it again, if you'll call the non-emergency number, they'll notify police.
All right, moving on to new business. Main Street Creating Outdoor Recreation Economic Strategic Plan. I assume Bernadette has something to present to us.
Yes, sir. Last meeting we had, I talked to you a little bit about this plan. You should have received that in your packet. And we've been working on this plan for the past year, but they wanted us to vote on it and accept it as the board.
This is the same plan you've been working on, which tries to help grow the greenway and everything, the whole program. Just vote for us, and if we adopt that plan and support. So I would entertain a motion that we do that very thing.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by like sign, the motion carries. You might as well stand up. The MSS facade grant corrections. You want to explain that?
I'll take that one. That's a clerical error. The board initially approved, $1,123 instead of $1,085.40. So there's this $37.60 clerical error. So the board needs to approve the award amount and $1,123. This is for ILDA that you all approved the last meeting.
We'll make it, how many dollar change?
$37.60.
I've entertained a motion that we approve that amount of money.
I'll
To
make that
change the facade. We have a motion. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Yeah.
All opposed by like sign, the motion carries. I assume Bernadette's gonna tell us about the Christmas parade.
Paige, do you want to?
Yes, so each year, the board discusses during a meeting where and what time to meet to walk in the Christmas parade. And so that's so it doesn't look like we have coordinated this outside of a meeting. So the parade's Sunday, December the 1st. We typically meet at Town Hall at 2. So we'd like to find out who plans to walk and if there's anything special you all want for each other to wear besides Christmas colors.
I am hopeful that there can be some sort of banner. I assume there's one here that says this is the town of Sylva. Is there something like that? Sweet. And my children and I clean.
Thanks.
I'll make the point to be there. I'm assuming most folks will. Right.
I mean, maybe we have about business typically has a float in it too. I think we are again this year, so I'll have to figure out. Last year, I think I tried to do both.
I'm gonna do both.
You're gonna do both?
Yeah, we're gonna
You
wear.
can do both.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how we.
Yeah.
I'm probably a little slower on foot than I was last year, but I think I can make it happen.
Got more gray hair too. All right. So do we need to vote on that?
Meeting here at 2, just.
No, I don't think so. I think you just need to have this discussion and direct us. Anything like a sign or.
Just one quick question though, what about if it's bad weather? What? We never had a contingency plan, really. We never discussed it.
Right, the parade just goes on.
I mean, do we want to walk?
Rain's gonna happen, yep.
Get your rain jacket on.
Hey, that's no problem. No, that's no problem. I just.
I mean, I guess we could come up with a contingency plan for something to ride in if it's raining.
Nice truck.
Good. In the bath before we do.
And you all, will you get candy for us to hand out?
Yes.
Is the plan?
We'll do that.
Hey, so I understand we're meeting here. Should we, where's the parade starts at Mark Watson Park, right?
It starts on Shipper Curve.
Oh, okay.
Last year, we walked from here to Chipper Curve. We were in the front of the parade. And then when we got to the fountain, we could peel off and stand there and be able to watch the parade.
So the parade will come down Mill Street and
Back.
then come back down.
Come down Front Street back.
Oh, comes reverse of the,
Yes, it's reverse the homecoming parade.
gotcha.
Yeah. Actually facing the courthouse.
I'm glad I missed that somehow. Okay.
Okay. So no motion and votes necessary.
Right.
Okay. 2 o'clock here, if it rains, we're riding some. Schedule Economic Development Committee meeting, December the 5th, 2024 at 1 o'clock. Is that just an announcement?
Yes, here at Town Hall.
It needs to be scheduled, officially scheduled by the board in a meeting. They can determine when their future meetings will be, and then we'll announce those also.
You need a motion and vote on it?
Yes.
So I entertain a motion that we, have the first scheduled meeting of the Economic Development Board at 1 o'clock on December the 5th at City Hall.
Make that motion.
Have a motion, do we have any discussion?
Yeah, one question there. And this goes back on what Johnny was saying about developing 107. Is this board going to be able to work with the county as far as getting approvals on some of the ordinances that seem to be to us a little silly or outrageous, like sidewalks, holding up construction due to landscaping or something like that? I mean, this is all for the best interest of the town. And, you know, the faster these businesses can get opened, we need to get them open as quick as we can so we can start generating revenue off the tax and off the sales tax.
Well, I can answer a little bit of that. I run into about every obstacle you can imagine trying to help folks around here do something. We obviously don't do a very good job trying to encourage that we firmly go by the rules. We pay the county to see to it, we firmly go by the rules. And if there's an ordinance change made, we have to have an official Board of Adjustments meeting. It has to come to us by recommendation from the planning board. And we have to have a public hearing, and we'll be lucky to get one ordinance adjusted slightly before the next election.
Well, when we're hanging up businesses on account of, you know, the way it looks out front, landscaping and all that, I mean, this is the best interest of the town. We all need to understand that. I'm just wondering, is this committee going to have any influence or have any authority?
Well, I think it'll depend on the type of recommendation. I mean, some of those are items and ordinances that are in our land use plan. So those wouldn't be able to be changed by that board. I think there's benefit in identifying issues that can be worked on. I mean, that's good governance, but our ordinances have to treat everyone equally as development's happening.
Well, no, I gather that, and I totally appreciate that and understand that. It's just that when these developers are out here trying to develop this and put a business into play, and we're held up because they don't know what bushes are out there or don't know which way the drain water is gonna run, and it shouldn't be holding things up when it's minute. Those things are gonna be coming anyway. And I think Wayne Smith had an example right up there with his.
Ran into this last week.
Is the question if an economic development board can change an ordinance?
Not really. Are they gonna be able to work with the county and whoever goes out and inspects this and has the authority in the county? If they hold something up, is this board gonna be able to work with them and try to get it hurried up?
I guess my understanding that every recommendation that comes from this board has to come to us. We're the only ones
Okay.
that remotely close have the authority to do it.
That's my understanding too. I wouldn't think an economic development board would be able to.
So I ran into this last week. One of our bigger businesses here, earns a lot of money for the town of Sylva, is having to move their sign. Being forced by DOT to move their sign back 42 feet. They now have to go by the new sign ordinance. They can't be grandfathered in because they're being forced to move it. They don't want to move it. But DOT bought the property and took it, they have to move their sign, and now they have to buy a new sign, buy new specs. So, that's the way we're helping our
And
business.
just, yeah, from a historical standpoint, I mean, that's the way it's been for, ever since we put in ordinances 20 years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
McDonald's sign is no longer 150 feet tall, Wendy's sign is no longer 150 feet tall. But I mean, as far as the sign you're talking about, the good news there is that the DOT actually is paying them for that. So they actually aren't, I mean, they're being, DOT is technically buying that sign for that new sign for them. So they didn't have to, when Wendy's and McDonald's renovated, they had to take down their monster sign and Taco Bell as well. So anyway, it's been a long process that just from a personal standpoint, it's taken a lot of work to get it to that we can have a look neat. So
I understand, and, you know, no matter how important the business is to the town, or how much money they turn for the town, we can't treat one any different than we do the next.
So no, I'm not asking that. I'm just asking, you know, if it's a holdup over something silly and I'm not gonna say stupid, but silly or doesn't make any sense. Would this planning board have any influence towards whoever's enforcing the ordinance?
Any authority they have be as an extension.
I think that they could see something in there, just like the planning board, and make a recommendation, let's remove that shrub. Or let's remove that species off the plant list. I think they can make that recommendation and we can vote on it. Right?
Yeah.
If it's changing our ordinance, though, I think we have to have an official board of adjustment meeting.
No, it's legislative. Board of Adjustment's quasi judicial. So the
They go to the
board,
planning board and
the
then,
board would send, and if it's a planning related ordinance, the board would send it to the planning board to be reviewed. They would meet, make a recommendation. If there's a proposed amendment, they would send it back. We would work with them. They'd send it back to the board, and then that would be a public hearing and voted on.
Does that not apply to 90% of our ordinances?
land use ordinance. Land use, zoning ordinances, but I mean, there's lots of different types of ordinances, but as far as zoning ordinances, it does apply to that for all the zoning ordinances.
that's why we have a planning board.
Yeah.
In essence,
I understand. You don't believe the phone calls. But anyway, and I do go to an effort to try to address everybody's questions and problems, try to help them if I can. I just ran into more hurdles than I've been able to be honest. So, we need to do anything with that.
I made a motion.
You have a motion on the floor.
Do we have a motion? Do we have any discussion?
what was the motion? Sorry.
We're gonna schedule the economic
Oh,
development
that's not what I was,
committee
gotcha.
December 5th.
All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. All opposed, no lights on, motion carried. Work session agenda change. We discussed this at our last work session. I think we're wasting some time with the work session. I think we've all sort of agreed we need to, the business that needs to be took care of during that meeting time. I think we can reserve a place in that on the agenda there for items that are discussion only and just continue back sort of like we used to do. Your understanding, Paige?
If that's the pleasure of the board. I do feel like the work session has been holding up decisions that could have been made the next week, depending on where in the month something fell. It was sometimes taking 5 weeks.
I agree. Everybody else feel that same?
Yeah,
So we'll just go back to doing what we used to do,
2 regular meetings.
the regular meetings, and for items that are discussion only, will just be marked on the agenda though.
Still keep one morning, one evening.
Yeah, the whole purpose of that is to try to be convenient for the public. People that work at night could maybe come to the morning meeting or something, you know. Anyway, so I didn't entertain a motion to vote that we, basically go back to the original meeting plan of having 2 official meetings a month.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion, to have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say like sign, motion carries. WASA Board appointment. I understand this is to reappoint Jeff Goss.
Yes.
He is How many terms does he serve?
He served two. He's chairman twice a board and he's eligible for his third appointment. This would be his last 3-year appointment.
I'd like to make that motion.
Have a motion? Do you have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, the 25-26 budget calendar, I'll look at that, see if anybody had any conflicts of interest with the meeting dates. I assume that's what we're approving as the meeting dates, is that correct?
Yes.
Anybody doesn't have any conflicts, I will have a motion to approve the budget calendar.
I made that motion.
Motion, do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Opposed, by like sign, motion carries. The holiday lunch, we want to schedule for December the 12th at 12 o'clock. That's when that's for all employees and the board, is that correct? Any kind of motion that we approve that?
I'll make that motion.
Motion, do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Yeah.
Opposed, by like sign, motion carries. Any kind of motion that we cancel the November 28th regular board meeting?
Make that motion.
Motion, do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, by like sign, motion carries. Also, any kind of motion that we cancel the November 28th planning board meeting?
I made that motion.
Motion, do we have any discussion?
Yeah, is that the same day as the regular board meeting?
Yeah.
Yes, it falls on
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. I think I missed an opportunity to point something out, the discussion we just had about the Economic Development Board. So we contract with the county to enforce our ordinances. Many years ago, the town had someone a paid person on staff that did code enforcement. And so this is probably, let's say, prior to 2010. The person with salary, benefits, and a vehicle, when we went to paying the county to do the enforcement, we saved around $70,000 a year. So we're very grateful for that relationship, for the interlocal agreement. And then also for the work that the planning board members have done since the zoning ordinance went into effect in 1998, for the overall planning and development of the town. So I didn't want that to get lost in what was said, because a lot of work has gone into that with regard to development and enforcement. But then also the town can't afford to have that position back in-house.
Sort of like the policemen we used to have walking on Main Street, we can't afford anymore either, so. Right, so back to canceling the November planning board meeting. Did someone make a motion?
Mark did.
Yeah. We have a motion. All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Opposed, by like sign. And the last two things are copy, on the agenda to cancel the December 26th regular board meeting. What kind of motion we do that?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion, do you have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, by like sign. Motion carries, and the last thing on the agenda is to cancel the December 26th planning board meeting.
Motion.
Have a motion, do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, by like sign, motion carries. Brad Walters, turn to the adjournments.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Have a motion, do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, by like sign, we come to.
Okay.